On the last episode of Skoolie Life, I left the San Juans and traveled south and west into the Four Corners region and wound up spending a lot of time racing around the desert in the bus before moving south into a BLM campground known as Angel Peak. Driving across the desert, you see these canyons, and I was able to camp right across from Angel Peak, which is a very rugged peak of sandstone. And this is a little bit of a drone footage I got from another YouTube channel, but it's pretty spectacular. I really wanted to get over there and climb it, but being by myself, I was a little bit reluctant. But I did camp right directly across from a canyon in between it, and you can see Angel Peak in the background. But I was able to get halfway across this ridge. So one thing I don't think I've probably mentioned enough, I know I talk about it face to face with people, but I don't ever stress the importance of BLM and people back east don't really get the significance of the Bureau of Land Management and what they have to offer, because people tend to focus on national parks and, you know, sometimes the forest, because, you know, every state I think pretty much has a national forest. Very few back east have national parks. But the one thing that's missing back east, or even east of the Rockies, is BLM. There's just no BLM. And this is one of the better examples of BLM land that I've come across. Just driving down 550 South on the way to Albuquerque, and I see Angel Peak scenic area and campgrounds, and this is what you get. Isn't this amazing? And the best part of everything, besides the fact that this is a fantastic location, the best part is this is free. I get to camp here for free. I don't pay anybody a dime. I don't have to register. I don't have to keep putting envelopes and money in a box. There's probably very few rules, but this is a very clean, well-kept area. Overall, BLM, as far as I'm concerned, is much better kept than the National Forest. I mean, it's, you know, I don't know. Maybe people just respect the area more than the forest. But the only downside is I think I can hear a generator off in the distance because there's a lot of oil something. I probably gas pipelines, gas wells, but I'll sacrifice to have this view. This is just freaking amazing. This is, I mean, where else can you camp on the rim of the Grand Canyon anywhere like this? I did pass a couple of campers on the way in, but by far I got the absolute best spot. I keep expecting somebody to come up here and go, oh no, this is a group campground or some shit like that. That would ruin it. So I decided to go hiking at least over there to that ridge. My ankle should be able to hold up to that. How about this turnstile? Oh, it actually works, the turnstile. How about that? Keeps the cattle in and allows the trekkers out. Looks like it's getting a little dark, but I can't imagine clouds coming up this quickly. Anyway, I was inspired by those bits of sandstone that are still hugging the cliff there on top. Figured it would be an epic trip to roll over there. I do like doing things that are exhilarating, and hopefully this turns out to be at least interesting. I may roll over there and go, no, this is too narrow. But from here it looks doable. It looks like this little trail here. This is, hell, I could ride my motorcycle across this. Of course, that turnstile wouldn't let me in here, but yeah, this is cool. And I brought my chest mount with me too, just in case it was interesting. And I brought 3 bottles of water, just in case I get exhausted and thirsty. So it does appear that a storm is coming, but it was behind me. I wasn't looking behind me, so I didn't see. Looks like there's a good amount of moisture in the air over there, but it's already raining. But I think it's maybe an hour out or more, hopefully. And all I've got to worry about is my phone and this camera. This thing on my chest is waterproof. So, well, that, and I'm sure the stuff gets real muddy and slippery, because as I remember, this is that greenish gray volcanic ash that's typical in Utah.
So I was talking out of my ass earlier, but after some research I realized this was siltstone and mudstone that was washed down from the Rockies north of here 50 million years ago and then eroded into what you see today.
So, I mean, this feels pretty hard here, but I imagine if you get into any of the dusty parts, or if it gets wet, I don't know what happens when it gets wet. I bet it gets just as slippery. Ooh, here's a nice little narrow ridge. Yeah, I don't want to come across this when it's wet. I bet it's real slippery, especially when you don't have a lot of choices for where to put your feet. Yeah, I'm almost at the first one. I think I'll be happy to do this first one. Let's see what I feel like when I get to the top of this. It looks like a fairly well-worn path, but I don't know what the erosion rate here is. I know it's obvious that there's some erosion, but soil like this in Alabama would be, first 2 or 3 rainstorms it would look like this, and it would be washed away because we get so much rain. But out here, I don't know. All right, it's getting kind of hairy here, so I'm gonna concentrate on climbing. Too. It's pretty difficult climbing. There's the bus over there, and there's a raven that's checking me out. Oh yeah, definitely worth the climb. Alright, the rest of this is getting real tricky. Camera was set up, whether I'm getting on camera now or not. Alright, that's looking not so bad over here. But over there, you're climbing on the narrow. Yeah. Man, I'm thinking this is my spot. Because hell, even falling off this, that's a 20, 30 foot drop. Yeah, well, you know, is it it's gonna be any better than this? I don't know. That's a pretty big, awesome rock. So it's a shame there's so much. I'm guessing this is all gas fields, natural gas. But you can hear the pump over there, and you can hear a pump down here in the valley. You know, it's nice to have these roads down there. That gives me an option to ride down there. But yeah, I'd rather not have to look at the pumps. And at least they're painted green. You know, they almost blend in with the scenery. But I'd rather not hear them. I think I'm gonna set up the camera for some time lapse. See what we get. Funny thing, yeah, you know me, I find so many things funny, but funny thing, I was setting up the camera for some time lapse on this ridge, and I thought I heard a hawk squawk, you know, like you hear in every Western and every recent movie it's almost like a joke. You know, you're in the middle of nowhere or the desert or some desolate place, and you get the rear of the hawk, that signature because there's nothing but desert. I've always thought it was a joke, but I've heard it before in the desert, and I guess I just dismissed it. But this time I heard it again, and then I heard it once again. I think it's the hawk going, yeah, I'm a hawk and you're you're in the most desolate place imaginable. But it's really not. I was just noticing earlier the signature foothills of the Rockies, just above Durango. You can see those brown tops. And I started trying to figure out exactly where I was at that point. All that's Colorado. The big mountaintops up there is Colorado. Then over here you've got Mesa Verde, which I just left, which I think these hills are a little bit too big, or you can see Shiprock over here. There's a town, Shiprock, and then there's a big freaking rock that sticks up much higher than this thing, and it looks like a ship with sails, setting sail. It's beautiful, and I couldn't figure out a way to get close to it in the bus, so I just bypassed it. It was tribal land anyway, so I didn't know I didn't want to get myself in trouble. But so we got Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. So we're still, you could kind of see the four corners up in this area. Right over this hill is Farmington. And then, you know, we're still, shockingly, as much driving as I've done the last couple of days, we're still shockingly pretty close to Durango. I don't think it's probably not 100 miles north from here. I bet it's less than that. I bet it's 60 or 70. I don't know. But it doesn't look very far, does it? Anyway, I was hoping to turn the camera on and get some more hawks squawking, but I guess I won't be that lucky. If he starts squawking again, I'll turn the camera on. Man, this is fantastic. The light is perfect. Look at that. I haven't been to Zion, but I get the idea that Zion looks a lot like this. And Zion's like 30 bucks, and this is free. And you can come down in here and enjoy the shit out of it. You can walk anywhere you want to. You don't have to stay on any trails or stay behind the fence or whatever. I can take my motorcycle out and ride the down in those canyons. And I love that. I love BLM. And this is one of those cases where it may be as spectacular as a national park. Zion is known worldwide And I haven't been, but I'm just comparing this design because it looks strikingly similar to the that I've seen. The pictures that I've seen of Zion looks like that. It may be more colorful than Zion, but do you have the access? Can you climb across a freaking ridge like this? Well, if I was more agile and younger and had somebody to go for help, you might see me climbing over there too. Well, do you see the bus? That's my home. You can see the chair set up over there too.
So after my 2 hours on the ridge, I made my way back to my campsite and onto the cliff that I was going to camp at. And I noticed there was a gentleman snapping pictures just above the bus. I'm not even sure this was a campsite that I was parked in. I assumed it's probably just a picnic area, but since there was nobody really out there, I took it upon myself to stay the night. Beautiful place to camp. But I spoke with this gentleman for a little while, and he was a pretty interesting guy. He was a photographer, a professional photographer, and I remember going to his website and checking out a lot of his stuff. He's quite an amazing photographer. I forget his website, or I would point you in that direction, but obviously there's a lot of interesting people that show up on this beautiful spot. Talked to a cute little optometrist that worked on the reservation, and had a brief conversation with her also. But beautiful place to hang out, beautiful place to camp, beautiful place to hike, and it was all free. And I would encourage anybody that's in the area south of Farmington, New Mexico, to stop by and give it a quick glance, stay the night, do some hiking. Really, there's really no rules out here. Don't make a mess. Don't collect fossils without a permit, at least. I would love to do that. I would love to go digging around if I could find the right places, the right layers to be looking in for fossils. Anyway, great time. Join me next time as I head south into Albuquerque for an International Balloon Festival. Can't wait to show you the balloons that I saw, so join me then.